All right. So welcome to the Monday night call, everybody. Good to see all your smiling faces on here. So tonight we're going to get stuck into prepping for a 6-week sprint. So we've got Dave and Irene Miller joining us for 6 weeks. For just a targeted injection of energy, guidance, wisdom, and all strategy, all good stuff over 6 weeks with the intention for all of us to take our business to the next level. So what that next level looks like is going to be different for everybody. So the intention was like a 6-week sprint to exec, but I'm going to get stuck into my first point in a second, but these 6 weeks is going to look very different for everybody. So the first point for those taking notes at home is if you're ever going to get stuck into a 90-day game plan or a 6-week sprint, the first thing to always do is create context around what you're actually doing. So this 6-week sprint, the context of it is an injection of energy, of action into your business to set you up so that by the end of this year, your business is in a completely different space to what it would have been without this next 6 weeks. So depending on where you're at and the action that you've been taking over the last month, 2 months, 3 months, the context of this 6 weeks might be a whole lot of planting seeds. So network marketing, it goes in seasons. You plant a lot of seeds and then you harvest. And so depending on how much action you've been taking, how many people you've been speaking to, how many warm people you've got in your network, for you, this 6 weeks, if you've been talking to a lot of people, might be a big harvest. And so it looks like a lot of results. But for some of us, it might be an equal amount of planting seeds and harvesting. For some of us, it might be only a little bit of harvesting because we've been a bit flat and a shitload of planting seeds. So just create context around what it's going to look like for you and focus on the actions you're going to take rather than the results you're going to reap. So we're going to talk about scripting a little bit at the end, which is a really exciting topic, my new favorite topic. I was speaking to the lovies about it just before. So just create context around what it's going to look like for you. And leading on from that, so point number 2, so create context is point number 1. Point number 2 is set goals that stretch, but also feel good. So put your hand up if you've ever set a goal that was just outrageous and you might have thought about it for a second that you could hit it, but then after that felt pretty shit and then you didn't get anywhere close and then you felt bad. Yeah, there's a few hands. I see Jack putting up a hand. Yeah, I think that one's called being human. But let's try to avoid that. But there's also the opposite end of the spectrum. So that's one end. The opposite end of the spectrum is just set easy goals or no goals and just live in comfort land as well. So it's like we want to set goals that stretch us, but also goals that feel good. Because if it's all about the feeling, and again, this will link in with the scripting at the end, but how we feel has just as much to do with what we manifest in terms of if we're talking about a business, enrollments, rank advancements, all of that stuff, how we feel has just as much to do with what we can manifest to what we think. So if we're thinking Crystal Exec, 3-star, and we're thinking that, but on the inside, we're feeling like as if you're going to hit that. That's ridiculous. You're a piece of crap. You're not going to hit that. You've never hit a goal before. Why would you hit a goal now? Like if we're feeling not good on the inside, but our thoughts are good, we won't manifest anything. So it's where that sweet spot where we're stretching, so it excites us, but we still feel good about it. That's where we want to get to. And that is going to look different for everybody. So even though it's a 6-week sprint to exec, and I firmly believe it's happened a lot that if you make it your sole focus and it feels good, anybody can hit exec in 6 weeks. There's a huge number of people that have done it. But you might not be at a stage in your life where that's a reality. You might have someone ill, you might have stuff going on, who knows what's going on behind the scenes. So just get real with where you're at and set a goal that's going to stretch you. So it's going to push you further than you would have gone if we weren't doing this, but it still feels good. So if you need help doing that, reach out to someone, reach out to your sponsor or your mentor, because it always does help to bounce off if you're not working in a partnership, to bounce off somebody. So you're getting that Hey, the whole Fanco clan. You're getting that that push and that accountability. But again, who saw Jay Bennett at Celebration at his little breakout? Show of hands, a few people. I love that because most people you see, they're like, yeah, you can achieve anything. Everybody go for 5-star. Like, yeah, just like, and just encourage you to set these big goals and create excitement. Everybody that Jay worked with, he actually brought them back a peg and was like, actually, that's too much for the next 90 days. You're not going to go from cycling 5 times a week to hitting consistently 40 cycles a week in 90 days if you haven't been taking much action. So it's creating something that's realistic because, again, go back to the context. It's not about the next 6 weeks. It's about the next year, the year after that, and so on. So this next 6 weeks can be the injection that creates some momentum for your business to really take off. And how do we create momentum and start feeling better? By achieving little wins. And we achieve little wins by setting goals that we're going to hit, but that still stretches and that we're excited about. So the next point, so point number 3, is if we're going to welcome lots of new stuff in the form of enrolling new people, rank advancing new people, earning more money, if we're going to welcome new stuff in, we need to create space. So we need to create space physically, our environment we need to clean up. I know the lovies just did a big garage sale and clean out. I've just changed my room up. So we need to create space physically. If you listen to any organizational experts, Susan Sly, all those kinds of people, they'll be like, your physical environment says more about what's going on in your business than anything else. So creating space physically, but creating space energetically and emotionally. So what are you holding on to? What's taking up head space, heart space? What's taking up energy? It might be people that, if you've been in the business a while, too many clothes, Mandy, help, cleanse. A physical cleanse could be in order. What's been taking up space and energy? So it might be people that you've been dragging along that don't really want it. It might be people that, even prospects that you've been following up with and checking in with, and it's like, if it's not feeling good, cut it. And so just use this next week before we get this 6 weeks, this precious 6 weeks with Dave and Irene. Use this next week to do just a little stock take of where, and it can be in your personal life as well. It's like, where are the energy vampires? And it can be subtle things too. It doesn't have to be big, obvious stuff. Just really subtle things that are, yeah, exactly, Judy. Really subtle things that are taking energy from you, or taking headspace, or taking thoughts that are going to distract you from where you're trying to go in this next 6 weeks. So point number 4, if you're taking notes, is once you've created space physically and created space physically and energetically, figure out and decide on a few ways where you're going to circulate new energy into your life in the next 6 weeks. So this concept of circulating new energy, even if you're not into the spiritual woo-woo stuff, which I'm pretty sure most people here are, otherwise you probably wouldn't have been attracted to this bunch. But even if you're not, just from a purely practical point of view, by doing new things, so going to work out at a new place, get coffee at a new place, changing up your morning routine, but anything like that where you're inviting change into your routine, you're inviting new people into your space, you're inviting new energy. So you're creating space for new things to come in, new possibilities to come in. Who talks about it? What's his name? Matt Kahn talks about it, and he talks about it being like sort of indirect manifestation. It's like, let go of the attachment of how it's going to happen. Because if we're going to go somewhere new in the next 6 weeks, then we don't know how it's going to look. Because if we knew exactly how it was going to look, we would already be there. So by circulating new energy and opening up to it looking however it looks, that's when the magic starts to happen. And then the 5th point is script it. So who's heard of the concept of scripting? and writing scripts instead of goals. Few people, a few hands up. Yeah, like it's something that Peter's been big on recently. And I was chatting to the lovies about this before, and I'm going to share a couple of script win stories with you, just to, I guess, and then I'll get into the actual nitty gritty of how we do it. So I'm going to dive into this. I've had a few questions. I know Lockie asked a little while ago about some training on the script, and a few people have come to me. So I'll take a good 10 or so minutes to break down exactly how you go about doing that. But first, a couple of stories, like since I started scripting, just a couple of, I guess, script wins that I've had. The first one was all around money. Black attacks in the house. The first one was all around money. So basically the idea of the script is you write it like a movie script, like you're living it, and you basically write your goals and your intentions into this script as if they've already happened, but you focus more on the feelings, and I'll get into that in a second. So littered throughout my script was how good I felt about money, how easily money came to me, how big sums of money were just coming to me from unknown sources. And it was just about really how I was feeling. So every time I read this script, every morning and night, I just started to feel really good about money. And I'd only written and read this script. I was reading it twice a day of the sentences. Yeah, so basically I'll go through that all in a sec, Jam. I'll go through specific examples of like what I write down and stuff. But basically a week into doing this, reading it morning and night with the general theme around how, and it wasn't specifics. It wasn't like it's this date and I've earned $500.74. It was just the feeling around money. I get this random email from my accountant, and basically something had happened with tax that I wasn't aware of. And rather than having to pay tax that year, I was getting a $13,000 tax return. And that paid for every single bit of travel I had coming up, cleared any debts, and all of a sudden I felt how I was telling myself I was feeling every morning and every night about money. The second win, yeah, I know, it's actually off the hook. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, this stuff works. The second one happened more recently, and it was around the space that I wanted to live in. So me and Caitlin had decided that we were going to move in together. So we were putting out for a space, for an apartment, for a house, whatever. And what we went into was how it felt. It was cozy, how it made us feel, what we saw when we woke up, all those kinds of things. It wasn't the suburb it was in. It wasn't any of the specifics. It was how we felt in the home. 2 weeks later, we go down south. Long story short, we end up staying in this little place with Al. I don't think Al was on the call. And yeah, we stay in this little cottage, fell in love with it, felt amazing. Next minute, Al needs somebody to move in there and help look after Otis. And basically, we've just manifested this beautiful house down south. I know Mandy's fist pumping. We get to be pretty much neighbours soon. And we pretty much created this, and how we felt in that space, I shit you not, we both read, because me and Caitlin were both scripting, was exactly how we said we were going to feel in this space. So I know the lovies have got a few stories, but basically I don't share those stories just to, yeah, the scripting works. It's basically this stuff works if we do it consistently. And the thing is, and I was guilty of this, after my first win with the money, I got busy and I stopped reading my script every night, and I stopped updating it, because that's what happens. We get a few wins, we think we're killing it, and we stop doing those little fundamentals that got us there. So the scripting. So the first thing is, I've got a couple of points here. So just jot this stuff down, guys, and I share these notes in the page. But the first thing is, write it in a time, or update it if you've already got one, when you're actually feeling good. So the energy that you're in when you're writing it for the first time or updating it, make sure you're feeling good. So that can be just, when do you feel best in the day? When do you feel most creative? It might be in the morning, it might be in the evening, it might be after a workout, it might be. And the thing is, you might have had a really sucky week, something like horrible might have happened, and you might be not feeling good at the moment. And it's not just I feel average, I can shake it off. But now's probably not the best time to start writing a script. So make sure you're feeling good when you write it. I suggest I don't know, mornings are always good for me, and after exercise, just physiologically having those hormones pumping and those endorphins and all the good stuff pumping through your body when you're doing it helps. And then the second thing is, so starting your script off, start it off with just a bit of a rampage of how you're feeling. So don't dive straight into the specifics. This is almost where you can throw in affirmations. If you're already doing affirmations, this is where you can use that. And I start off with mine like, I can't believe how much energy I've woken up with, because I always read mine in the morning, and then at night I just change the beginning bit. I'm so grateful for this. I can't believe how much this is happening. Usually there's something about money. I'm feeling more organized and abundant with money every day. And it's just generic feelings as if you're doing your affirmations, but really write it in your language. It's like, I'm stoked at how many amazing people are coming into my business. And just use expansive words like, I can't believe. It's almost like throughout the script, it's like you're shocked at how good things are. And it's like things like best ever and like all these, like expansive words that leave things open. But start off your first sort of paragraph as just a generic rampage. So as you're reading it, you're actually lifting your vibe and you're stepping into that. Gratitude's a big one. And that's definitely the most well-researched one, that when you can get in a state where you're feeling grateful, that's when you actually get centered, you feel better, you start to get healthier, good stuff starts to happen. So I scatter all my gratitudes through that first rampage. That's point number 2. Start with a rampage. And another example is like every single day I feel. And then you just, what are the things that you're wanting to feel? I feel open. I feel expansive. I feel connected. I feel joy. And another one is my thoughts are naturally. So like my thoughts are naturally clear. My thoughts are naturally go towards ease rather than fear. Like use your own language, but just use sentences like that keep things open. The third point is chronological order. So how I do this is, so we can do this for the next, obviously, 6-week sprint, but really set it up. I kind of look out like sort of 4 to 6 months, and I'll look at my goals. That's like, say if there's an event or if there is a rank I want to hit, and I'll write my goals where there might be like a savings goal. You can get specific in terms of like, in terms of the rank. I like to use events. So say if rather than just a random date, use an event that's near that date. So then you can actually put yourself there. So it's, celebration 2018, like that's far away. So like, but pick something. So you can be like, I'm walking in, I can't believe I wake up, or I sit down on the plane too. And so you can actually transport yourself there. And then so set basically your goals and write it in chronological order. And I pretty much do just a paragraph per, I guess, date. So I wake up on Sunday morning, the 4th of June, one of mine is I'm running a fundraiser event and I feel excited, I can't believe how easily it's all come together. I'm blown away by how many tickets have been purchased. I don't say 47 tickets have been purchased. So you can sort of like, I guess, create space, and you even if you get the specifics. So I had a goal that I wanted to raise this much and I wanted this many tickets purchased. I didn't actually include that in my script, but the energy is still there, if that makes sense, because then you're leaving room for even more people to come, or even more. But that also, if it feels better to have specifics, like it's this date and I'm Crystal Exec and that feels good, it's like, do that. Like there are no hard and fast rules with this stuff. This is all just obviously guidance and suggestions. So chronological order was that point. Point number 4. So obviously use present or past tense. So you're either waking up on the 4th of June and it's present tense, or I'm talking about the 4th of June as if it's already happened. So say if I was going away the weekend after the fundraiser event, it's like I'm driving down south. I can't believe how well the fundraiser went. It all came together so smoothly. Or so either past or present tense, never future. Never. It's coming up to the 4th and you're looking at it in the future because you want to read it as if it's happening or already happened. So when you're writing it, always write in that tense. So either past or present tense. And then always, and bring in like color, so highlight. So whether or not I like to print mine, it's a bit annoying because then if you want to update it, you've got to print it again. But I like not being on my computer or phone first thing in the morning or when I go to bed. So I actually print mine out. But whether or not you're printing it, just use it. Use caps, make it pop. If you curse and you swear in your normal language and that feels real for you, bring that through the script. If you don't, like it's like you want to make sure it's you on a soul level feels it. You want to feel it. So you want to speak how you normally speak and animate it and make it big, highlight specific things, important things. Make it colorful and stimulating. Reading it twice a day or, so this is point number 5. So point number 4 was past or present tense. Point number 5 for your script is read it morning and night, minimum once a day, but suggested morning and night. The reason for that is the last thing we take into our mind before we go to sleep, our unconscious mind goes to work with. So then while we're sleeping, our unconscious mind is figuring out how it can make all that juicy awesomeness happen. And then the reason for the first thing in the morning is obviously that sets up our entire day. So, but again, the feel good is the most important part. So if you feel best, not first thing in the morning, but actually you work out at 10 a.m. and after that workout, you are peaking and you're feeling amazing, read your script after your workout. So make sure you're getting in at least once a day, every day, and making sure you feel good when you do it. And yeah, like check in with your script. I'm finishing mine tonight. Yeah, good, Gem. And it's kind of cool. You actually get to like create it all. It's pretty epic. So yeah, and check in. And this is like a personal one of mine. Like, I don't know, does anybody else find themselves getting addicted to the old social media or phone at any point, or am I the only one? Yeah. So it's like check in with your script and how you're creating your life before you check in with your social media and your obligations. So it's like I have a rule now. It's like, why would you check in with other people's stuff and other people's agendas before you check in with yourself and your own? So as a like general rule, read your script before you check social media, check text, get off flight mode. And it's like, it's just a habit. It's like it's a simple thing to do. It's easy to do. It's easy not to do. Script and a cuppa. Exactly. And then another idea is put on music while you're doing it. Again, anything that's going to anchor it in and raise your vibe while you're letting the good stuff happen is a good thing. So, so play music, dance around first, just have fun with it. Like there's no rules, whatever's going to get you feeling better when you're doing it. And it kind of invites the concept of play into it. Like it's pretty fun. We get to like literally just script and create how we want our life to go and then just leave space for it to be even better than that. Like it's pretty sweet. So I think we should act like it's pretty sweet and have fun while we're doing it. The last couple of points. Yeah, you want to read it often enough, which is every day, so it gets boring. Like after a few weeks, you kind of should know it word for word. Like you should know how things are going to go. And like that's, and constantly updating it. So every month or so, you get to a point where you've, like the stuff that you've been reading has happened. And that's when you might map out the next month and constantly update it and check in with it. And another thing to do to make it feel more real is at the beginning, keep in your script things that have already happened So then when you're reading it, your brain is like, well, this is real. Your brain knows that that has happened. So anything that you include with that has happened as well. So don't straight away, as soon as you tick something, like especially something that's like got a lot of emotion for you. So if you hit a goal, and it doesn't even have to be within like the business, it could be just something awesome that happened in life, include that in your script so that when you're actually consuming it and reading it, your brain recognizes it. It just anchors it more as truth. And then clue stuff that's already happened. Something that some people do is actually record it. Record yourself reading it, and then you can just get that, use the audio recorder on your phone. And then when you're driving, actually just plug it in and listen to yourself. It's a bit weird at first, but you kind of get used to it. Or you can just have it playing in your ears before you go to bed. So that's another option as well. So try different things. It's have fun with it, give it a crack. But so that's the concept of the script. So any questions on that before I move on? Just while we're on, if even Laura, there's a yeah, Ria, yep. Just unmute yourself.
Thanks, Tal. There was one question, and I haven't actually heard PK talk about this, but in our experience with it so far, seeing things coming to life and, you know, constantly adding to it or looking at adding to it, you know, on a monthly basis, like you said, how long does this actually end up being? Like, you know, you're going to end up reading pages and pages worth, right? If you leave in the things that have happened and then you're adding in new things as you go. Is that the idea of it?
Yeah. So you wouldn't leave in everything that's happened and end up with this like big book. Like I only really leave in one thing that's happened. And it ends up being like, it depends how much you want to go. Like Peter does like, I think the next year or something. And hers is like 4 pages typed. Like it's long. But her thing is like, if you know you can consciously create, like, why wouldn't you? That's so she just does it. But it's like, if it's going to be a couple of pages, that takes 10 minutes to read. It's like, as part of a daily routine. Like I think that to me, like around the sort of 2-page mark is where I feel good. If I try and get too into it, it gets a bit like almost overwhelming. So yes, I have a play with what feels good, and I wouldn't leave everything in. I'd just leave in like one thing that's got a powerful emotional anchor for you, and then have that be it, and then use the rest to look forward about. Sorry, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. Just one other thing, and again, bringing it back to what you were saying about doing whatever feels good. One other thing that Lovey and I heard during the week was, as he washes the dishes, in case you can't hear. Amazing husband.
Oh, look at him go.
So I don't know if you guys have heard it, but one of the new podcasts on Podomatic by it's David Wood sharing, and Warren Lance shares on there about consciously creating, and he runs marathons. He was doing marathon training, and just about the specifics of it. And I know, Tal, you mentioned even when you were talking about how many tickets were sold to an event, like leaving it kind of open. But one thing, maybe if you could clarify, is how specific you get around certain things, because Warren said that he had consciously created cycling 1,000 times and wasn't specific enough with it. So now his first business center is cycling at 1,000 times, but it's maxed out at getting paid at 250. So he's like, so now I'm very specific in saying I create 1,000 cycles and I get paid for them. So did you want to just maybe touch on that, please?
Yeah, like I think on that I would, and this is like, I just guess my take on it. So I didn't write the script rule book, but how I would address that would be the bulk of it, don't get caught up on the specifics. But like if, and this is like, if the specifics feel good and create clarity and it feels good, then I'd say the specific is a good thing. I'd say if your whole script is specific, then it's like you're trying to control it and you're not leaving much room for stuff to come in. And I would say if Warren was maybe like say in that example, if he was more, I guess, addressed how he felt around his abundance and talked about that rather than 1,000 cycles, then he probably would have got paid more and created more abundance. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on it. But again, if the specifics feel good, like say if like exec is your goal by a certain date, or even just, leave out the date, but you talk about the feeling of exec. So it's not like this by this, and it looks like this, and these are the 10 people I enrolled to get there. Like, I think bringing in some specifics. And if you're going to be like, if you are going to do that, make sure, like the cycle thing, he wouldn't have even known that was a limiting thing at the time because of how it worked. So that's how I'd sort of answer that. Like, if you're going to be specific, make sure, because the end goal would be, he didn't care about the cycles. It was more an income that he wanted. So it's like, if you're going to be specific, make sure you're specific about the end goal. And that amount of income would have actually behind that would have been a feeling he wanted to feel. So it's like, if you're going to be specific, get specific about what you actually want, whether it is income or it is a rank, or because you might think it's a rank, but really you just wanted the income and you didn't care how it looked. So
yeah,
that's
really good. I love that. And just for others who are either scripting already or going to start, something that you need to just be in tune with is when you're writing it, just if you get that feeling in your gut, like if something's in your body that's just kind of not feeling right, it's like, okay, that particular goal either shouldn't be written like that, like there's something underlying it, like what you're explaining, or it doesn't feel good, like maybe it's not quite time for that or whatever. So yeah, just be in tune with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Rhea. Any other questions? And if you've got any, like, we'll post this recording in the group, obviously. And it's something that, always learning. And it's just trial and error. Like, don't not do it or be scared of like getting it wrong. Like, just, really just have a crack and then tweak it as you go. But yeah, with, again, bringing it back to the context of this 6-week sprint that we've got, use it as a time to start to script in stuff. And it's like, again, don't try to rush stuff. Like, don't try to go with the gut. Yeah, exactly, Hunty. Don't try to rush stuff. So if you've got, because this is a way of self-sabotaging, is scripting stuff that actually doesn't feel good. So then when it doesn't happen, you can play into the story that the script doesn't work for you and da-da-da-da-da. So it's like, use this as a chance to get some wins on the board and think of the script as a longer term thing. So don't try and do just a 6-week script, like include that as part of it, but more about how you feel in that first 6 weeks with an intention that the work in this next 6 weeks actually creates some epic stuff down the track. And it's like, and almost like what I've started to do, because I've just tweaked mine since we've had this 6-week sprint booked in, about how stoked I was that I gave 110% for the 6 weeks, because by this date I'm feeling this and this is happening. So it's like, in my script, I'm already proud of how well I did in the 6-week sprint, if that makes sense. So start to just bring that sort of stuff into it. So that's the script. It's kind of like a little training within a training. But so going back over the stuff to prep this week, so understand the context for your 6-week sprint and leverage the energy that everybody's coming into it with. Because I feel like there's this energy bubbling and there's a lot of people that are about to break into a whole new momentum in their business. And I feel like this next 6 weeks is going to be the springboard for that. So leverage that, but still be real with where you're at in your, I guess, cycle of things. Set goals that stretch but feel good. Create space physically and energetically. Consciously circulate energy. And this is a big one. It's like, where in the next month can I start changing things up so I can bring fresh energy and fresh people into my life? Lovey had a great a combo of bringing new energy in and clearing out space, and had a massive garage. In fact, Lovey, do you want to just unmute and just share a bit about that for the guys? Like, I loved it, and it's a duplicable thing as well.
Yeah, for sure. So it probably starts with the scripting as well. So we've been doing that every morning, every night. A tip that I'd love to share just with that quickly is make sure you have it. It's the first thing that you stumble across in the morning, because from our bedroom up the stairs into the kitchen, you can be distracted by quite a bit. So for us, like, mine's on a bit of paper beside the bed. It's the first thing I do when I wake up, last thing I do when I go to sleep. So it's there. There's no excuses, no temptations. So yeah, we've been obviously scripting about the types of people we'd like to meet. New fresh energy we'd like into our business. Rhea and I are obviously couples is a big thing for us because we love working together. So yeah, I just had an idea the other day. We're obviously going on a road trip. We're moving out of our home, had a heap of stuff that we needed to get rid of, so thought I'll do a garage sale. Now, I listened to Jim Rohn building a network marketing business only a few days before of that, and I can't remember the word, but it was based around being innovative. So I thought, you know what, Facebook Live, it breaks the algorithm of Facebook, so I thought, bugger it, I'll get on, get people to share it, shows everybody what I've got, like a garage sale. You can see the sign and you'll never go to one because you think just another load of cheap rubbish people are trying to get rid of. But I knew we had a lot of stuff of value. So I did a live, showed what we had, so people could therefore decide whether they wanted to make the effort or not. Drop the word in free in it because everybody loves something for nothing. It's bizarre. So everybody does. It's crazy, you know. People will do anything to get nothing. It's hilarious. So I did that. It got shared a heap. It's had 3,000 views. We've now nearly enrolled 2 PTs from that day that came to I had kayaks, I had sports gear, there was all sorts of things. So 2 PTs that we want in our business. We want to work with, obviously, health professionals. So 3,000 views, probably 30 or 40 new contacts. I added everybody on Facebook that wrote to me. So it's just been a massive. It was IPA while I was doing it because we were making money selling clutter that we didn't need in our lives anymore. So it was just a win because it just continued to give back. And we made some really amazing face-to-face connections. And you had to push the comfort zone because a lot of us want to hide behind our screens and phones, and it made me get out there and talk to every person that rolled into our driveway. So, yeah, it was. It started with the scripting and it's ended with probably enrolling 2 PTs. So
epic, and just circulating a whole bunch of energy. Love it. Thanks, man. Cool. So just to wrap up with the last couple of points I've got here. Point 6 is bring some friends. Everything's more fun with friends. So like use this as an opportunity to reach out to people and see where they're at. Do you know what I mean? It might be product users that are like, all right, in the next 6 weeks, I'm going to go consultant or I'm going to go manager. Like meet everyone where they're at. But it's just a really good chance to have that touch point and reassess. Say like, we're reassessing. This is what we're doing. Where are you at? And just use it as a chance to check in with people because you never know what has changed. So use it as a chance to connect in with people and use it as a chance to maybe schedule in some more events than you would have. Do you know what I mean? So either online launches, in-person launches, like actually map out the 6 weeks, like get together with the people that live in your area. If you've got that, if you don't, do it on your own, do it online, but actually schedule out the next 6 weeks in terms of what are the company events on? Okay, they're non-negotiable. And then what am I going to do? And again, like Lovey touched on, stretch the comfort zone. If you haven't done an in-person launch, do that. But have that all mapped out. So again, by the time we've got the next week to prep, by the time we roll around and we start training with Dave and Irene, all these decisions and all this planning and scheduling in the diary, that's already done. So there's space, there's structure, there's energy circulating for some epic stuff to come in the next 6 weeks. And then that's pretty much it. Celebrate the little wins along the way and really just understand again, going back to point number one, the context of it. It's like the results in the next 6 weeks, it's not irrelevant, but it's like the action you take and what you're putting in is more important than what you're getting out. So still set those goals, still do all that, but be consistent with the action, because again, put this on as a launch pad for where you want to be at the end of the year, rather than, oh, well, if I don't hit exec in the next 6 weeks, then it was all a waste. Do you know what I mean? So like use this as the injection just to take things to the next level, revibe things, get some people on board, and just have some fun with it. Like we've got Dave and Irene on, like we've got good numbers on this team call, but it's like how many more people can we, bring into the next 6 weeks? And if we're collectively scripting that sort of stuff, there's a lot of power in that. If we're scripting that we've got triple the amount of people on this team call in the next 6 weeks, which is so possible if we all bring on two people that want to get on a team call, then that's going to happen. So don't underestimate the power of what we can do when we bring collective intention into something like this. Combine that with the launch in the UK, with the Start Vision Tour, with the events that are happening. It's like shit can get pretty real in the next 6 weeks. And that's a wrap. One more question from Lovey.
Not a question, mate. I just wanted to know how many people on here have actually listened to Jim Rohn building your network marketing business.
No, I haven't done that. I'm gonna
after over 2 years in this business, it goes for just over an hour, and it is by far the best audio book I have ever listened to. So it literally takes about an hour, and it has blown our minds. So this bloke's one of the most successful network marketers going around, and he shares the tips that he got as a 25-year-old step by step. Listen to it, please. It's an hour. That'll be the next thing leading into this massive run with Dave and Irene. It'll just blow your mind. And it costs you $3 or something. What's that, mate?
Do you just get it on like Audible?
Yeah, Audible. And he just basically touches on the law of averages and makes it very basic. So we just got to get out and talk to more people, because it's 1 in 10. It always has been. The more practice you have, you can get it to up to 3 in 10. So, just listen to it and then get out and talk to everybody that walks past you.
Love it. And have fun doing it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks for jumping on, guys. And we'll have, like I say, Dave and Irene next week. And so if we've got specific questions, like I said in that post, we're going to get them to kind of go through kind of the 6 skills. And there were a few questions that I didn't get to last time around, inviting to events and that sort of thing. But I've also given them the license to, I guess, take it where they want to. They've done a lot of these sprints before. They've gotten a lot of people to exec. So I've given them a bit of free reign with stuff too. But if you do have specific questions or areas you want them to cover, then hit us up. Let me know in just either post in bfree or message me. Jack, want to say congratulations to Mariano for jumping on his first team call. Mariano on his first team call. What a first one to get amongst. Yeah. Getting straight into the 6 weeks. Love it. Epic. Well, good to see your faces, guys. We're going to wrap it up there. I'm going to